All right, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. The stream just crapped out. I mean, that's maybe it was Jeff Bezos. He didn't like my commentary about the Amazon Prime subscription charge for ad-free streaming content. Just really that I don't know what happened. Just midstream, the stream just dropped. I have no idea what happened. Really weird. But anyhow, welcome back to BRAP. This is part 2 of you won't believe what Amazon Prime is charging for, and most anticipated video games of 2024. Retweet this link here. All right, retweeting this out. No, Richard, I have not played Lies of P yet. That's also on my to-do list of games to play. I've been so caught up with Baldur's Gate 3 and doing the second playthrough that I haven't played much anything else. So Abdi says, would you buy God of War Trilogy PS5 remastered? I don't know, maybe. I think it just depends on how it looks. Yeah, I'm not sure. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not sure how much I believe those rumors. Twitter said, no, thank you. I did read your super chat, by the way. Thank you for the super chat. You said maybe it was my super chat that killed your stream. I don't know. That was crazy though. I think it was Jeff Bezos. He didn't really appreciate my my commentary on Google's not Google on Amazon Prime charging for ad-free streaming. All right, so I guess I forgot where I left off. I know it was I know we were talking about the Amazon Prime subscription. Yeah, I didn't put. Abdi says BRAP did not pay the $3 Prime, and stream got canceled. Yeah, I think that's probably what happened. Yeah, I don't know. I was having issues with YouTube. The last things ran I did. Twisted says you were arguing with KT. I wasn't arguing. I was just I was saying, hey, look, like no one's mad here. Again, this idea of voicing, being a consumer, and this is why I think Katie Goat is involved in console wars, because because everything there is anger in console warring, and I think he comes from that perspective and doesn't understand that as a consumer. It's like it's hard for him to understand as a consumer, because he's in console wars, that you can actually as a consumer say, you know what, I don't see value in that. I'm not okay with this. I'm not happy with a price increase, right? And that actually not equating to being mad. There's a difference there, and the fact that he didn't understand that was telling. Ice Cream says, hi, Brad, back. Had to get coffee. Ice Cream, your timing's perfect, because the stream just crapped out, the last stream. So this is part 2. This is part 2 of the show. Oh, and actually, I was reading the acquisitions of Amazon of some of these of healthcare of healthcare services in the healthcare industry. It's kind of interesting. And I say, look, this is they are striving to be the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. If you've watched the movie Aliens. A little background, the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. The Weyland-Yutani Corporation was founded by Peter Weyland October 11th, 2012. This is by the way, this is lore specific to the Aliens franchise. Soon becoming the first company in history to make $100 billion in only 5 years. The company focused on technological advances. Oh, this is so rich because this movie Aliens came out in 1979, and so they are projecting this company, Weyland-Yutani Corporation, as being this massive conglomerate, being the first company to make $100 billion in only 5 years. The company focused on technological advances, making huge strides in fields including holographics, off-world colonization, FTL travel, cybernetics, transportation, and healthcare. There you go. Amazon Prime, or Amazon, striving to be with the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. All right, let me see. I don't know if a Nate is in here. Let me send a Nate a link. Oh, wow. This Alienware. Wow. 800. Okay. Not bad. I'm looking at the Alienware Quantum Dot OLED Curve Ultra Wide gaming monitor that Nate sent me. It's $800 right now. That's not bad at all. 165 hertz. Okay. Maybe BRAP needs to get himself a birthday gift. Yeah, we back. We back, Nate. Thank you, Twisted Sin. I appreciate it. Yeah, so Nate, I think when the last stream crapped out, I was talking about Amazon acquiring healthcare providers or companies, and I said they're becoming like the Weyland-Yutani Corporation in the movie Aliens, and then I started really the lore behind the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, and it was pretty much like Amazon. Yeah, I gotta be anyone. So when Prometheus came out, I had high hopes for Prometheus. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. Yeah, I'm telling you. See it, Nate? Amazon's listening. They're like, no, we're not doing that today. So now I have a stream that's part 1, part 2. I probably, if I have time later on, I'll try to merge the two streams together. Although, look, to be transparent here, I may just leave both up. Double monetization. All right. I want to move on to so we discussed Amazon Prime Video. I want to go on to my most anticipated games of 2024. And look, off the break, it's going to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Oh, Capono says, before you get BRAP 240 gigahertz generation 2 QD OLED monitors will be available first quarter of 2024. If you can wait a little longer, 165 is kind of low for 1440p resolution. Thank you for that, Capono. Yeah, me too, Nate. I agree with you. Yeah, that's true though. Nate, Capono, it's true. They will be $800. That is true. That is the difference between those two price points. But no, I thank you for Capono. I appreciate that though. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the obvious one for me. I mean, that's releasing first quarter, February of 2024. Rise of the Ronin will be the other one. And Hellblade 2, we don't have a firm release date. We know it's coming out in 2024. If I was venturing to guess, I would say late 2024. Hellblade 2 would be the other one. Those are the big three, my most anticipated games of 2024. Everyone in the live chat, let me know what your most anticipated games of 2024 are. And if I so those are like the big three for me right there, right? Avowed would be another one, although I don't think we have a firm. I know that 2024 number has been out there for Avowed, and obviously anything Obsidian related, I'm going to be excited for. But I don't think they've confirmed that. In fact, Microsoft's confirmed, and please correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I haven't seen anything in terms of a confirmation that Avowed is like they did with Hellblade 2. That is in fact going to be released 2024. We don't. But Innate, do we have a like what they did with Hellblade 2? Do we know? Did Microsoft come out and say 2024? Oh, Jeff B. Gaming, that's right. Dragon's Dogma 2. How could I forget? Abby says, Like a Dragon Infinite, my most anticipated big title of 2024. That's probably going to be a good one. Yeah, Infinite Wealth, yeah. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about Dragon's Dogma 2. They haven't given us a release window for Avowed. Okay, so if Avowed was 2024, let's just say we get something for that. I would put that up there as well. So it would be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for me, Hellblade 2, Rise of the Ronin. Those would be the big ones for me. Now, outside of the games I'm definitely going to be playing, outside of those other games that I'm interested in 2024, like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws. I don't think we have a release date for that, but that comes out in 2024. If that comes out in 2024, that's something I'd be interested in. Persona 3 Reload is another one. Actually, I'm gonna put Persona 3. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. I know this. Apologize if I'm confusing anyone here. So these are the games I'm definitely playing in 2024. I should say. So that's what I mean by most anticipated. Stellar Yams. So for me, I'll recite the list. The games I'm definitely going to be playing: Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Rise of Ronin, Hellblade 2, Avowed if it comes out in 2024. Persona 3 Reloaded, which is a remake, by the way. It's a remake of the because Persona 3 actually released in 2006, so this is a full blown remake of the original. So I'll definitely be playing that. Now I gotta say, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crowns kind of intrigues me a little bit. They kind of went back to the game's like 2D roots. I don't know if that's a game I'll definitely play, but it's something that's piqued my interest. Capona says Black Myth Wukong. That comes out August of 2024. That's something else that I'm interested in as well. That's another game I'm interested in as well. Nobody's talked about Tekken 8. Look, B Money is excited for Tekken 8. I see it. I've seen some chatter on the social media networks or platforms with excitement over Tekken 8. But Tekken 8 does come out, the first half of, say, the first quarter of 2024. Yeah, oh man, I can't wait. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, February 29th. I cannot wait. There's also, another game that's caught my interest is the other release that the other Atlas release is Metaphor Refantasio. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's supposed to be releasing fall of 2024. So that's a brand new RPG from Atlas. So I'm interested in that. If I played fighting games, I'd probably be. Grand Blue. I can't even talk. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, Helldivers in February as well. Yeah, I'm not sure. See, I'm not a. Grand Blue's not on my radar, but I have seen a lot of people excited about Grand Blue coming out in February. Helldivers 2 may be something I check out. Will I play Suicide Squad? I don't know. Depends what's on my plate. All right, Nate, you have a stacked 2024, by the way, sir. And Nate says Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Persona 3 Reload, Ayuden Chronicle, 100 Heroes, Dragon's Dogma 2, Star Wars Outlaws, Suikoden 1. Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters coming out? How did I miss that? If I have time, I might check out Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters. Unicorn Overlord, Plucky Squirrel, Squire, Like a Dragon, Helldivers 2, etc. Okay, that's a strong list, Nate. What else is everyone looking forward to in the live chat in 2020 and 2024? Ricardo, God bless you. He says people complain about Amazon price increases. People don't care about paying for iPhones every year and upgrading PC every year, or PlayStation fans paying 70, 80, or 100 for the payer. Okay, so here's the thing, Ricardo, and this is maybe, I don't know if you were here for the conversation. Yes, consumers can complain about different things. Consumers value things differently. Some consumers don't value the iPhone, therefore they don't pay for it. Not every consumer pays for the iPhone every year. Some do. Some consumers who buy the iPhone every year will not be okay with the increase in the $3 price for ad-free streaming on Amazon Prime Video. It's not a zero sum with consumers, Ricardo. This is how consumers behave. They see value in some things and not value in others. Just like there's people who say, I won't pay $70 for a game. It's too much. But I'll tell you what, when those new Air Jordans come out, those retros, I'm there day and date, $200. Yeah, Capone, I don't know many people that get a new iPhone every year. I think I know one too, and his name is Game Logic. Big shout out to Game Logic. And maybe Gaming Forte. Or is Forte even on the iPhone? I don't even know if he's on the iPhone or not. Yeah, look, I know plenty of people that buy the new Galaxy phones every year. I'm not one of them. I just upgraded. Yes, Jeff Bezos needs a new yacht. That is true, Froggy T. Right. He needs a new yacht. Wait, and Nate, there's more games you're looking for that you're... So, Nate, the list that you provided, these are games that you're going to be playing then, right? Honestly, like for me, if I only play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hellblade 2, let's say if Valve comes out, play that, Persona 3 Reloaded. I might be good for 2024. I might be satisfied just off that. And then a couple of the other games that have caught my attention. like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. You know, Skull and Bones also releases February 16th of 2024. That's a game that's also on my radar. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag is one of my favorite Assassin's Creed games. So Skull and Bones, when they actually debuted or revealed Skull and Bones, it reminded me very much of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And actually, sitting in my gaming room where I podcast from, I have a Todd McFarlane Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag poster. It is glorious. And then Black Myth Wukong is another one on August 19th that I'll probably check out. I really hope I really hope Star Wars Outlaws is good. Ubisoft's Massive Entertainment's working on it. I just hope it's good. Rise of the Ronin is March. Dragon's Dog. Oh man. So here's the issue I'm going to run into in March. Rise of the Ronin releases March 22nd. The same day as Dragon's Dogma 2. I don't know. Yeah, that's going to be tough. One of those games for me is going to get pushed out. When do we, Ricardo wants to know, when are we going to see the first trailer of Tomb Raider? I love that. I have no idea. I love the Tomb Raider trilogy. I thought it was great. I thought it was great. All right, yeah. So Rise of the Ronin. Yeah. I don't know. That's tough. I'm telling you, it's tough. Is anyone else in the live chat in the same dilemma as me? Like where you're planning on purchasing Rise of the Ronin and Dragon's Dogma 2? Because I just don't know which one I play first. Jumpy Game saying Ronin gets picked up later on. Yeah, Final Shape. Don saying Final Shape, or Ice Cream Game saying Final Shape is in June or July. Capono. Anyone in the chat excited for Tekken 8? I know B Money is. That's coming out January 26th. Trying to think of other games that are coming out. Those are the ones that I think stand out to me the most. I'm really glad that we got a release date for Black Myth Wukong, August 19th. I mean, there's so many incredible trailers that were released for that game. The only concern that I have as a developer behind this game hasn't released anything on this scale before, from what I'm seeing with Black Myth Wukong. Not that I'm saying it's gonna be bad, but it raises eyebrows for me for a little bit. All right, who's picking up Persona 3 Reload? Yeah, Froggy says there's always so many great indie games coming out. I'm trying to think. There was one indie game that's what's the name of it? They showed it at the Video Game Awards, and I don't remember the name of it. Gave me kind of Ori vibes a little bit. Is BRAP here? Yes, I am here. Nice. You have a signed Tom McFarlane? That's nice. That's awesome, Nate. Yeah, I tell you, I'm upset at YouTube for whatever happened with the last stream. That bugs me. All right, I'm trying to look at some other games 2024. Isn't Stalker 2 coming out 2024? That's another game that was on my radar. Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl. Yeah, Final Shape comes out. Look at Destiny 2 Final Shape. Is that 20? I know it was slated for February originally. I know Forte is listening. Maybe he can give us some more insight. Now, there is a Dragon's Quest 3 HD 2D remake that's in the works. I think that was rumored to also maybe release 2024. If that comes out, that'd be another one that I'd be interested in. Yeah, Nate, you got me thinking about Euden Chronicle 100 Heroes. That looks interesting, too. Because that game's like the spiritual successor to Suikoden, I think, right? Aren't we supposed to be getting an Elden Ring DLC as well? Shadow of the Entry? I'd say if Xbox can release like 3 AAA titles this year, I may resubscribe to Game Pass. That ROI may be worth it for me to do that, to re-up. Yeah, Nate, feel free to jump on, man. All right, Nate's going to join us here in just a second. Yeah, I would definitely have some FOMO, Capono. That's going to happen. Ricardo, I mean, yeah, it's I'd be interested to see how it looks. It's a good-looking game, Wukong, but we'll see how it looks on the consoles when it releases. Yeah, good, right, Capono. YouTube doesn't seem like a good business partner if you relied on it for income. Exactly. I always said there needs to be a solid alternative to YouTube. Froggy T. Rice says, "BRAP, do you mainly only play AAA games?" Yes, I do. Actually, let me rephrase. This past year, I played mostly AAA games because there were so many great AAA games. But I'll play indie games, AA games. It really just depends and because my time's limited now, really depends on what's out there. Like I'm not one of those gamers that will only play AAA games. Although the running joke is, I think it's Ryan Landis who refers to me as, when he says BRAP, it's BRAP spelled with 3 A's. Brad, which game do you think is better, Wolong or Sekiro? Ricardo, I don't know. I haven't. We haven't played Wolong yet. But Sekiro is a great game. I beat Sekiro on PlayStation and on PC. It's one of my favorite From games. No, I haven't played RoboCop yet. It's so RoboCop. This is partly because I am just in love with Baldur's Gate 3 and haven't played anything but Baldur's Gate 3 since I wrapped up Phantom Liberty. But I'm on my, like I said earlier in the show, I'm almost 300 hours in Baldur's Gate 3. That's with 2 playthroughs. This is my second playthrough right now. So no, I haven't played RoboCop, but that's definitely one that's on my radar. I've heard a lot of good things about RoboCop from people that played it. Yeah, but Froggy, one of my favorite like AA games was A Plague's Tale Requiem, and the first Plague's Tale. I thought both are great games. Alicia, even though we make fun of Hugo. Alicia, I'm hungry. Alicia. Oh, Capone, what's RoboCop on sale for at CD Keys? I know it's on sale on Steam right now. Steam summer sale. And I still need to pick up Alan. Well, I still need to play Alan Wake 2. Oh, okay. Nate's waiting here. Okay. All right, we have a Nate here. Hey, Nate, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, bro? Oh
Just
man,
Odyssey. I just trying to figure out when I'm going to stop playing Baldur's Gate 3.
man, I'm telling you, that game alone is a whole mission, like in the best way possible.
Oh yeah,
Like
absolutely.
so many scenarios, so many things you could do. Like trying to explain it to my girlfriend because she's never played a game like this, and trying to explain to her the level of different scenarios and stuff, the things that people have done, and things that I've already encountered. Like she's just like what number one, like sometimes she's like, why would you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. But somebody did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
By the way, January's monthly games for PlayStation Plus. Just speaking of Plague's Tale Requiem is on there. Evil West and Nobody Saves the World. So
Yeah, that's a solid start to the year. I'm
yeah,
not
no,
mad
it
at
is.
it.
Yeah. But no, you're right. I mean, it's my second playthrough. I am experiencing things I didn't experience the first playthrough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm playing quests that I didn't like. I'm like, how did I miss this quest? How did
Yeah.
I not get? How did I not have Gale with me the first playthrough? Like, how did I miss him?
Yeah.
Like,
It's incredible, man. Just the number of scenarios you can encounter. Like, I'm personally like in my first playthrough, I'm like, I'm the type of person that likes to try and experience everything, but I'm not really sure I can even achieve that in a game like Baldur's Gate 3. That's what's so crazy.
yeah, and I've watched some of the YouTube videos, and the people have vastly different experiences, dialogues than I've experienced. And that's just amazing.
It's same, and then the dynamic nature of the conversation like is never so straightforward. Like I like it, it messes with me. Like a lot of people, this is very, very early on, but you encounter like a devil and you're not really sure. Like it sounds like a sweet deal, but
Oh,
you're like,
you're
this
talking about
person is also the devil.
you're talking about what's his face?
Hmm?
God, what's his name?
Yeah.
I forgot his name
I can't
now.
remember his name, but yeah, like I mean, but the proposition sounds great, right? And then it's
Yeah,
like, but you also really just want to say no because this person is a devil and you shouldn't.
yeah,
And it's like, but the way the he's so smooth with the wording and like, what's the big deal? You know, ain't no harm. You know, look at him just like, man, you real convincing, but I'm gonna just say no.
yeah. You know, his Raphael was his name. Um,
Mhm.
Raphael's very convincing. Even like his articulation, like that's what makes him convincing.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, and the fact that he's able to manipulate himself as a in human form,
Hmm.
you don't realize at first he's the devil, and it's just like it is. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've said no to him both playthroughs because I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Nope. Yeah,
Because
nope.
yeah, because you know, like there's always some kind of there's always an angle with him.
That fine print.
That fine print, yeah, and you see that with Will.
Yeah, you
So,
do. Yep.
um, but yeah, it's you know, and it's funny because one of the issues, one of the things that I was concerned about because I was playing Baldur's Gate 3 and then jumped into Starfield. And Bethesda games have
Okay,
always
okay.
been known for their dialogue trees, their open world RPGs, the dialogue, the choices, and playing Starfield, and we talked about we talked about the interaction with Raphael and how his voice, how his character scripted in that game, and the articulation of his script, the voice actor in this case, and each character is unique in that regard, and there's some depth to their into the characters that you have dialogue with, and
Yeah.
it's interesting because when I went to Starfield, I was like, okay, I don't want to come into Starfield thinking like with the Baldur's Gate 3 bias, like having that like with me. I wanted to come with an open mind, but it was
Hmm.
hard. It was really hard as I got into Starfield. I'm like, oh man, some of the character choice, some of the dialogue here is just flat. It didn't feel like
Yeah,
it had a lot of
exactly.
weight to it in comparison to
It
Baldur's
doesn't
Gate 3.
feel as lifelike as believable. Like they just like you said, flat is the best word for it. It's just like it feels like a rudimentary quest. Whereas when you're interacting with a lot of the NPCs in something like Baldur's Gate, they feel alive, even down to some of the more minuscule NPCs, you know what I mean, that are just cannon fodder essentially, the ghouls guarding the front gate or whatever, or the goblins, and talking to them and they're like, I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
The
mean,
goblins are hilarious
everything
in
just
Baldur's Gate
acts
3.
so believable. They are. They freaking are, man. It's so good. So good.
Yeah. Like it made me think, and as I was playing Starfield, I'm like, wow, could you imagine if Larian had actually developed Starfield as opposed to
It would be
Bethesda?
incredible dialogue wise,
Yeah,
man. That's for
like
damn sure.
even the and by the way, if you haven't played Starfield, I'm going to spoil something here, so just I'm warning you. And you've completed Starfield, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I don't have to worry about spoil, but I'm just letting everyone know, just tune out, and then come back in like a minute. No, Frog, it's here. I did not kiss the tentacle head guy. I did not. No, I didn't make that choice. um, but in Baldur's Gate 3, but like the love interest of Sarah in Starfield, and I said this to Logic. I was like, I felt like I married a blow up doll in Starfield.
Yeah,
Like
essentially.
romancing her was very dry. There was no emotion behind it. You know, and I know people will be like, oh, perhaps weirdo. He's trying to have romance with with the video game character. No, it's that's not. No, we're not doing that because I know someone's going to say that. What I'm saying is just the
No, it's part of the flow though. Like I get what you mean. She felt very robotic in
yeah,
her even in her morals and stuff. Like that's honestly why I actually thought she'd be way more interesting, because like her sales pitch in the beginning was solid, when you first get there, and then like everything is so mechanical about her personality, and it's like honestly I noticed a trend in the community. Once people kind of got a feel for the game and really got deeper in it, a lot of people actually chose it. And my girlfriend actually married her too. The last girl you get, because she's one of the few that has like a believable personality and like things going on that feel believable, and the way that she even talks to you and is like feels like she has a heart about it. You know what I mean? As opposed to like the mechanical nature, like you said, of someone like Sarah, just felt like he's very dry.
Yeah, very dry, very like it felt like you was having a conversation with a mannequin.
Exactly.
And when you contrast that with like Shadowheart or Lizelle, Lizelle's interesting. God, Lizelle's really interesting as a character. Um, it's just it's vastly different. It's more impactful in the experience than Sarah. Like it was a letdown. But a lot of the conversation with some of the NPCs in Starfield do feel very robotic, in contrast to Baldur's Gate 3, which I think that the Baldur's Gate 3, the voice acting, the narrative, the writing, it is on a just different level than Starfield. And I
No,
kind of
I agree with you 100%. Just the beginning, I was gonna say just the beginning when you do if you go through the part where each character introduces themselves, will show you that already. Like it looks like a Broadway level production, like the way they talk, and just um the way they speak within just that closed space where they show you. And I can't remember his name at the moment, but the vampire one that everybody talks about that won the award, I can't remember his name
Asterion,
right
yeah,
now for some
Asterion
reason.
is yeah.
Yeah, Asterion. Like when he acted for that part, I was like, oh, this guy is hitting on every
Oh
level
yeah,
immediately. Like I was so impressed with his voice acting just before I even started the game. Like I said, just in the character creation screen, I was like, my God, this guy's introduction is flawless. And I am a huge story person and a huge person when it comes to different levels to voice acting. I've become so in tune to it. When someone really fits the role and they act it so well, it stands out so much to me as a not only as an RPG gamer, but someone who also listens to a lot of audiobooks over the last few years. Um, some audiobook readers are just on a different level, like, and it just changes the entire experience. And it's the same thing when you game. Something like Horizon Forbidden West. I explain to people, as a black man in gaming, I appreciated so much the level of detail the Guerrilla Games went, bringing a lot of those black people to life in that game. Like there was just a guy that stuck out to me, and a lot of them do. Um, but a guy that stuck out to me, one of the first NPCs you interact with, he sells you weapons, I think. But I was like, man, he reminded me of like somebody's uncle sitting on the porch down in the bayou, what I'm saying, telling stories. Like, what I'm saying? Like the voice acting was so on point and
yeah,
believable that it took you to that next level of
yeah.
immersion.
It did. It really did. And
Yeah.
I felt like the very plain characters in Starfield voice acting broke the immersion for me. And there were
Hmm.
times it wasn't. Let me just backtrack here. There were some good dialogue, at times in Starfield, but it wasn't consistent. And
Exactly. That was the problem. It
yeah,
wasn't consistent.
and it broke the immersion for me where that never like I can't recall a video game in quite some well it's been a while since any video game where I've actually went through all well I took time to read the dialogue choice and didn't like rush through it because I didn't want to be bothered with it because it wasn't interesting to me. That hasn't been the case of Baldur's Gate 3. And this second playthrough is amazing,
Absolutely.
especially now that I know how to. Like I'm better at the inventory management. I'm better at when do you like certain spells to use. Certain when to apply buffs, things like that. Like it's just a different experience. I know how to play. I know how to utilize the geometry of the maps to my advantage now during combat. I didn't know those things really in the first playthrough. I kind of learned as I went along. The first playthrough got better towards the end, but I'm kind of flying through the first playthrough now in terms of combat because I know how to play the game now, and it's just a different experience.
Yeah.
Because of that.
No, I was gonna say, that's something you're gonna really love later on. And this is not a knock to people playing it on console, but playing it on PC, this is something you're gonna love later. As much as you love this game, the mods that are gonna come out for this game, as someone who's played Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2, the way the community gets behind these games, they create entire new classes that never existed. They create uh, a lot of complex intricacies and new systems to overlay on top of the things that Larian has already done. Like, there's a class set for Divinity Original Sin 2, which adds like 20 new classes that all have unique spells that didn't even exist in the game. And that's one mod, just one. You press subscribe on the Steam Workshop, it loads in, and that's loaded into your game flawlessly. So you're
Oh wow.
definitely going to get to experience that later on with Baldur's Gate 3, which is just going to prolong your, the longevity of this game and you playing it deep into the future.
Yeah, well, that's wow. That's a problem I don't need right now because I'm already like
I know.
I
know.
love this game.
2024 trying to get us already, man.
Yeah, yeah, I'm trying to get to these other games in 2024, and there's even games that I've backlogged for 2023 that I haven't got to because of Baldur's Gate 3. So,
yep. Honestly, you got to make choices out here, man. It's just it's crazy. I mean, you play on all the devices the way I do. You have a PC, a PS5, and a Nintendo Switch, and if something looks interesting, you want to play it.
Yeah,
and it's just so crazy. Like, I'm appreciative of it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's the best problem to have as a gamer. Too much to play, but at the time, sometimes you feel, and I know you had to have this. You've gamed as long as I have, if not a little bit longer. So, like, where you've got so much to play that you sit there and you end up not playing nothing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You just can't decide.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. Yeah. All right, Nate. So absolutely. I want to talk to you about the because I think you wanted to come on to discuss most anticipated games of 2024, right? All right, so you have a pretty long list there. So
I do.
Yeah. So what other games stand out to you for 2024?
So, I mean, for me personally, like I said, the one that I definitely pointed out to you is probably one of my most anticipated, which, like you asked me in the chat, Eiyuden Chronicles and the 100 Heroes, because I'm such a major Suikoden fan, or Suikoden, some people pronounce it, whatever. But that being a spiritual successor, knowing how closely tied that is, I'll have to send you some information on that game later, since I saw your level of excitement rise on that one. But number one, I'm so excited for that game. Number one, just for coming out and what they're doing with it. They're the 100 Heroes things. Anyone who's played Suikoden knows in Suikoden you have the 108 Stars of Destiny. So that's 108 characters you can recruit. That's why it's called the 100 Heroes, which some people don't know that. But yeah, that one is massive on my list. The previews have been incredible for it. And a shout out to them because the excitement for that game seems to have awoken Konami, and that's why we're also getting the Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters, which Suikoden 2 is my second favorite game of all time. So I'm getting the spiritual successor and the remasters to my second favorite game of all time in the same year. Like, that's already 2024 ridiculous. Another set of things for me personally, this is what I was saying in the chat. I was telling you, like PC gaming, being into some of the exclusives for PC gaming is also kind of running in to everything for me. Homeworld 3 is coming out. It's an RTS game, space RTS. The game looks incredible. They've been working on it for a number of years here. The systems in place, everything just looks incredible. And with the rigs me and you have, that game is just going to run smooth and look amazing. Um, Same thing with a number of other ones, which I sent you the link in chat with a couple of them to picture so you can see what I was looking at. But Sins of a Solar Empire is another one of those games. It's another RTS we never even knew part two was coming out. Me and a couple friends that I've played with probably for the last 15 years, we played the original Sins of a Solar Empire for about 5 or 6 years. We modded it. We did all kinds of stuff with it. It was incredible. So that's coming next year, which is crazy. And we get a third. I'm a really big space sci-fi person. That's why when you mentioned Prometheus, I was like, yeah, that I was so excited for
Hey Nate,
Prometheus.
speaking
So
of
I get where you're coming from
sci-fi,
on that.
did you see Zack Snyder's movie Rebel Moon on Netflix?
I absolutely did.
What did you think
I
about it?
absolutely did. Honestly, bro, I was good with it. I liked
Really?
it.
I didn't like it.
I knew what I was getting into. I knew what I was getting into.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Yeah,
I didn't love it. I didn't love it though.
Yeah.
I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. You know what I'm saying? I liked it. Like I liked where it was going. I want to see. I don't mind seeing a sequel and stuff like that, but I didn't hate it. I mean, like the critics were like, "Dang, it's the worst movie that ever lived." Like,
Yeah, I would
was
say it's the
like,
worst
"Nah,
movie,
like-"
but it didn't. It was a Netflix sci-fi movie, and what I mean by that, it at times it kind of I thought it presented itself almost like a Hollywood blockbuster, summer movie. But yeah, it's just yeah, it was okay. I just felt like with that movie in particular, it just seemed like it borrowed a lot from different sci-fi movies that I've seen. Like I was watching, I've seen this movie before. It's probably the easiest way to explain my experience with it.
Okay.
I've seen this before. And
I watched it. I watched it with my best friend, and she was like, when they turned on like the blades for the
I'm
one
like,
chick,
Star
and she
Wars.
was like, oh, there go the lightsabers.
Yeah,
and
even like the sound effects of the ships shooting, I'm like, oh, that's Star Wars. The dreadnought, oh, like Star Wars. Like I'm just like, it's the World Destroyer, Star Wars. Being out in the like they were out in that, like the main protagonist is out in that small town or whatever. I'm like, okay, we saw that in what was the Star Wars?
You're talking about like Rogue One or whatever.
Yeah, Rogue One. But there was the TV show. I can't remember.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but I heard it was good.
But
I know what you're talking about.
I mean, so it was very like Star Wars, and then it's like, it's interesting. Like with sci-fi movies, like with this is kind of the one complaint I have Star Wars. I'm like, like here you have Star Wars, and these people are wearing like burlap like clothes, and it's like, why? Like why? Like, and the houses are made of like stone. I'm like, you guys fly in ships. Or say there's Kurosawa.
Yeah,
which is
that's definitely
maybe that's more
definitely
symbolic
been a big thing for me.
Maybe that's symbolic of
sci-fi,
socioeconomic
especially
classes,
specifically. Well, Star Wars specifically has a thing that I've always been, because I'm actually, as much as I'm a huge sci-fi fan, it's funny because I'm not a big Star Wars fan, and it's largely because I hated that the worlds, like Star Wars, is like a timepiece like thing, like it's always stuck in a specific time period. Like no one ever gets anything new and like advanced. Like I'm like, y'all been doing this for 1,000 years or something, and no one's got new ships without all these buttons the size of my monitor. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just like, but I get it. It's a certain aesthetic for Star Wars, but I like where things evolve. So I've always been a bigger like Star Trek fan in that regard, where like, all right, cool, we got the next level of ships. Like, oh man, this ship can do some crazy stuff the other ones never did before. The turbo lifts ain't the same. Like everything just changes and evolves and constantly moves forward. As a sci-fi fan, I love when that evolves. So but I do get what you're saying. Like it was very like it wanted to be big AAA, blockbuster movie,
but it wasn't.
It wasn't. Yeah, but I think it's also because like I was also really starved for like a solid movie, like because like nothing is out right now. Like I was
Yeah.
just like, everybody
Yeah.
keeps talking about the what was it, the Godzilla movie, but it's like that's like stuck overseas or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's like we got one movie. It's like, man, what is Hollywood doing right now?
Yeah.
So yeah, Aquaman's either did or is about to come out or something. I did see that,
It's out. Yeah. Aquaman 2. Yeah. Yeah. It's,
but
it's, again, it was
yeah,
very, very much Zack Snyderish. You know,
okay, it definitely was. My friend
it,
was giving me crap about
it
that
was
because
like,
I'm not a much of a fan,
yeah.
but the slow mo shot, I guess, is like his jam. Like,
Yeah. I didn't like it. I mean, like, I love 300, but I didn't like the slow
yeah,
mo shot. I'm like, this is 300. There's instances of that movie where I felt like I was watching 300 in space. And I'm like, like the lighting was very 300-ish at times, but 300 was a great movie. I love 300.
well, I guess I do love 300, and I guess that's another thing that the yellow filter is also
Yeah,
his jam. Like,
it
there's a
is his
couple
jam. Yeah.
things which I laughed as she was pointing these out because tend to like Michael Bay a lot, which of course
Mm-hmm.
regular critics don't. But like, I go to see Michael Bay to watch things explode and look pretty. Like, I know what I'm going for. Like, that's what I showed
Yeah.
up for. So, and I laughed because I remember that was what they got on him about in epic rap battles. He jumps in and he goes, this game's about money, and I'll swoop low with the telephoto. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh wait, yeah, he does do that a lot,
Yeah. I mean,
and lens flares and stuff like
yeah.
that. So
Yeah, but the slow motion
but
stuff, I mean, it's very, very Zack
mhm,
Snyder-ish. Even the lighting, that's the yellow the filter you talked about.
the yellow
The use
filter,
of
yeah.
light, I mean, there was times where I'm like, oh, this is like Superman. Like it just, yeah, it just, I don't know, man. It just did. Now I know there's a part 2 coming out, so the ending of the movie had me a little like, okay, well, I want to see what happens next.
hmm
So I guess that was good. Like I'm not like totally
Yeah, they definitely set
yeah,
me up for that,
yeah, but
which I seen it coming.
yeah, but again, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I felt like it, and I felt
Yeah,
like the
it's wild,
pacing
man.
was too fast too.
You
And
said
maybe
you felt like what? You
the
were breaking
pacing
up
was a
when you
little bit
said
too
it.
fast.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely get that. They sped it, like it was slow in the beginning, and then like once she took off, it was like, all right, pick everybody up really quick. Let's go.
yeah. It was like, who
We
are
got
these
things to do.
people? Like like I knew the general was because they gave him a
Yeah,
little bit of the backdrop there, but I didn't know who the other guy was. They saved from that Raven. I didn't know any of that stuff. I just
yeah.
I'm like, how did he get there? Who was this guy who they made a bet with to free him? And so I don't know. Anyhow, um,
But yeah, man. Like I said, the other games, like I said, there's another one that's interesting for me personally. Like I said, that getting in that sci-fi vibe was Falling Frontier, which I'll have to show you that later. You'll understand why that looks incredible. That's another PC RTS game. Getting back to the other stuff that a lot of people have seen, like you said, the Star Wars Outlaws. I'm super interested in that. Like you said earlier, I really, really hope that's good. It looks incredible. Um, and then Plucky Squire, if you remember seeing that,
I did see that. Yeah,
uh, yeah, Plucky Squire looks dope. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. It's not really the type of game that I usually go for, but the fact that they can go in and out of like this 2D space into the 3D space, and like the way they're just messing with the mechanics looks incredible. Um, Somebody mentioned earlier Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. That one's big for me. I've been waiting for that for a while. It's an RPG, but it's also four-player co-op. So that's huge for me because it's like rarely do I get to play, a solid full-length RPG with people. Because like sometimes that's all you want. You're just like, hey man, what can I play with you? So that's something that I'm really looking forward to. Obviously, massive, massive, massive Persona fan. So like you mentioned earlier, Persona 3 Reload. You famously, you know, uh, finally had gotten Luca into that by dropping it on her desk, essentially, um, with Persona 5 Royale. So I'm massively looking forward to Reload. I've beaten it before when it was Persona 3 Portable, but seeing the way that they've remastered and reworked everything. Looks incredible. Like a Dragon, Final Fantasy Rebirth, like everybody said. Stalker 2 is a big one for me. That looks incredible. Um, Metaphor, like you said, being a new IP coming from Atlas, and the previews we've seen for it look incredible. You know, again, I'm a massive JRPG fan, so Trails from Daybreak, or Trails Through Daybreak rather, looks incredible. But that's a scary one for a lot of people because the Trail series is very very long and has a a massive undertaking if you want to know the whole story. So that's definitely something reserved for people who have played through the majority of it. Dragon's Dogma, again, something we've been waiting on for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
By the way, real quick,
and
the
then
Trail
one
series
of
have
a big one
re-
for me.
the
Go
Trail
ahead.
series have
Yeah,
really good stories too. By the way,
incredible,
yeah,
incredible stories.
that's
It is the
who
thing I
is it?
warn people about
Is that
is they take their
Falcom's developer,
time
right?
explaining it. Yeah, Falcom, Falcom.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they take their time telling the story in the first when you get to Trails Cold Steel, or if you start with Cold Steel, because
Mm-hmm.
some people don't want to do the original one because it's only on PC. The Trails in the Sky series, 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a little more old school, it's like sprites and stuff, but it is good. But if you start with Cold Steel, 1 is a slow burn because they are literally setting you up and they take their time telling you who everyone is, why is everyone here, why is this war happening, everything. But then the moment you start part 2, like it's like a rocket, like from the beginning, like you're in the middle of everything, go 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 go, like it takes off and it's incredible, and it's an amazing experience if you're a JRPG fan. Definitely one to undertake. And then probably I will say not even my last one. I mean, I'm sure there's more.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Helldivers 2. My whole team, we're all picking that up from my podcast that I do. We're all picking it up. I played the original, but this one, just stepping it up into third person, looks incredible. Um, the game just looks insane. I'm ready to play that. And then huge for me personally, this is something that we have played literally since part 1, and this is something that only console players will have known since part 2. Is Killing Floor. Killing Floor, we played Killing Floor 1 literally from like its inception. Everybody I know that ever played with me on PC has pretty much played Killing Floor with me. We have stories upon stories upon stories. Killing Floor 2 came out. We still play it. Me and my girlfriend play it probably 2 to 3 times a week still. And the way I flipped out when Killing Floor 3, just to give you an example, if you see the trailer, you'll know what I mean. But like about 6 seconds into the trailer for Killing Floor 3, it says nothing about it, and I knew what it was. Like nobody else on my
Yeah.
podcast team knew what it was, and I was freaking out. I was going crazy. I was like, "Oh my god, Unreal Engine 5, we're about to go crazy. My 4090 about to be screaming. I can't wait,
The
bro. We
trailer
about
looks
to go crazy."
insane. By the way, the Killing Floor 3.
Exact, exactly, bro. And I love that they're updating it for it like that because now all the people, what I'm saying, like
Mm-hmm.
you maybe have never tried it and stuff like that, and they're bringing it just to the next level. Where you're gonna get to see it on PC and go in on that, and I might be able to get you to play with me now. Like they're taking it to that next level, and it looks incredible. The little bit of footage they showed us,
Yeah, it
like
does
the
look pretty good
visceral,
too.
it's very visceral.
It is
The
very visceral.
gore, the
Yeah, the gore.
blood,
Yeah.
like yeah, I love it, man. So yeah, those are probably my top ones, and like I said, man, that's already a crazy list, and I can
That's
still
where you
think of
fight
more
like
that I've
the
missed.
bioengineer. Like they're not zombie. I guess they're like almost like they're like bioengineered like mutants. Maybe I guess is that you fight
Uh,
in Killing Floor. Is
yeah,
that?
yeah, basically, yeah. They engineer, like you said it right. They're not zombies. They are engineered. They're
Mm,
created um within that world, and you fight them through survival waves. You have different levels of it. You have the 4 rounds, 7 rounds, and 10 rounds. You fight the boss at the end. There's a ton of levels and stuff, and different weaponry, leveling up, choosing your perk system, stuff like that. The different levels of it is like it's crazy. Like we played on the hardest difficulty a couple times.
mm,
Um, my girlfriend loves to play on the hardest difficulty, but it gets crazy. You gotta be like max level. You really gotta come with your A game.
Hmm.
This is a perfect example, and this will be really cool for a really cool experience for you. This is one of the few games where I can say a high refresh rate monitor helped me incredibly. So one of the things about the mobs, at least in Killing Floor 2, they have weird patterns in the way that they move. So going from the 60 FPS monitor to a 165 FPS monitor, that more than double frame rate, like the fluidity and how they move made me be able to guarantee my headshots land, because now all that weird up and down movement and stuff when they're kind of walking towards you, you realize you were missing so many frames in between their animations. That's why your shots would be a little off. So that's a really good example of like a visual you can physically see as your aim gets better in that game, and a high refresh rate monitor really, really helps that.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. A component of the live chat says support Helldivers 2 on PC, so Sony will bring more games day one. Helldivers 2, like is that something that you're looking forward to? The trailer looked interesting to me. I'm not sure if that's something that I will, no pun intended, dive into.
Yeah, I mean, I played the first one with my homies and stuff. They killed me plenty of times because you cannot turn friendly fire off. That's one of the things about that game. But it was like a isometric before, and now being the third person, I think just really looks like they leveled up the game a ton. So yeah, I mean, I'm really, really looking forward to it. If I love it as much as I think I will, I'll probably double dip um, on both. I mean, obviously, I'll pick it up considerably later, cheaper on PC. But yeah, like I said, my whole team is picking it up on PS5, and we're gonna be there day one. My 240 hertz OLED monitor has ruined me. Look, man, I don't even blame you, bro. Like, I mean, I know people. Like I said, I've gamed on PC for over 20 years, and like I've got people that play Counter Strike, and they swear by the more hertz, the better, no matter what. Like it
I know
doesn't
people
matter
play
to
Counter
them.
Strike. They evangelize more hertz.
Yep, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They're
absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
yo, I will 1080p this for the rest of my life for more hertz. Like they do not care.
Oh man, I've been playing Counter
Yeah,
Strike
that's
in.
why I laughed personally about the 500 hertz monitors that came out recently. I was
Mhm.
like, who is? And I was like, wait a minute, I know those people.
Counter Strike. They're playing Counter Strike. Yeah, I can't get into Counter
You
Strike.
said you had played it?
No, I
Yeah, I'm
said
not. I'm
no.
not
I've
into
I
it.
haven't played Counter Strike in years. It probably like 20 years.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, it hadn't changed in 20 years until recently when Counter Strike 2 dropped.
Yeah, it just
So
yeah. I think I played it on. I played it on PC 20 some years ago, and then when the Xbox version came out, the original Xbox, I played that. That was not good. Um,
yeah.
yeah, but it's been 20. I have no interest. Yeah, no interest.
Oh, here's another fun fact while we're talking about people who play on PC, because this was something I heard the other day that I thought was funny, and you might have saw the tweet or not. But somebody this person got a Steam Deck and was like, they were looking at all the wrap ups for the year, and they tried to equate PC gamers not playing their PCs as much as they claim by the low time spent on the Steam wrap up. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense, because anyone who plays PC gaming knows that there are like 20 different launchers, not to mention GOG, which is completely DRM free, and tons of other ways that in games that you're going to launch, Riot Games, Blizzard, so on and so forth, that are not going to show up on your time spent playing on Steam. So I was like, that is like the worst thing I had ever seen from somebody. And I guess they just figured, well, I got a Steam Deck now, so I'm a PC gamer. I'm like, no, you got a Steam Deck, and that's cool, but it's not a PC.
Yeah, no, that's. Was this on Twitter that you saw this?
Yeah, yeah. So the it's not a they
Not.
didn't comment it there. I was listening to a
Mm,
space in the morning, and someone had said that in there, because like I get it, honestly. Some of the stuff, if you play on Xbox, if you play on PlayStation, it's uniform. So if you say you spent time there, it's gonna show, right? But on PC is so diverse and so spread out that when they mentioned the Steam wrap up low numbers, because I know mine were pretty low, but I was like, outside of playing Starfield on there and a few other, and Killing Floor 2 all year, like it's not too crazy compared to like my PlayStation numbers. But I'm like, I also played like a ton of other games. Like I'm playing the Avatar game right now on Unobtainium
I
on
heard that
PC.
I heard that game looks good.
Bro, it is it is mind blowing. It is the first time FSR has been better implemented than DLSS, so I'm using FSR 3, and it has absolutely blown me away playing this game. It is, man, my PC gets up there. I have a APC connected to my computer, which shows the wattage that it's pulling. Boy, let me tell you, my 4090 was pulling over 1,000 at one point.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
got,
Well, the whole PC. Yeah. But
yeah.
it got crazy.
It's you're putting your 4090 through the paces, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is one of the first games to get it screaming, and I ain't mad at it. It looks phenomenal.
Well, here's the thing, Nate. Like you mentioned, you heard it in the spaces. Like this is the problem with gaming Twitter. Like a lot of people make commentary on things that they have no business making commentary on, and not that I'm an expert by any stretch of the imagination.
Mhm.
But what I do quite a bit is actually research many of the topics we discuss. And I will reach out to people who I know are either subject matter experts in the field, have hands-on experience, and ask them specific questions about topics. You know, it's why we had Matt Stoller on when we were talking about the ABK acquisition. We used to talk about mass consolidation in the gaming industry. Matt was actually someone of those that was on with Colin's Sacred Symbols. So I mean, that's part of the problem with I think gaming Twitter is that you have a lot of people who they just say things without doing the research, or they listen to certain podcasts and get a lot of misinformation, disinformation. Don't fact check anyone.
Exactly.
Again, not that we get it right all the time, but what we do here is that we do research prior to discussing certain topics. And a lot of people just don't do that.
I'm gonna be honest. That's why my girlfriend still listens to y'all. To be honest.
Oh, is that why?
You're like one of the only podcasts that she listens to, because she's like, I really like the way they go over the information and the way that they, balance out and talk about how they feel about something as opposed to also the facts about something.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you guys reiterate it every week, almost, you and Logic or whatever. But honestly, I think this may be the last one that she still listens to religiously. Like she goes to work tonight.
We'll tell Fox you said thank you.
When you go live. Yeah, absolutely, bro. She loves the discussion, bro. And we talk about it all the time. She builds all the PCs. Like I haven't built a PC in like, I mean I still can, but she just loves the physical process.
Mm-hmm.
So she builds them all and stuff like that.
Well, that's the thing. Mm-hmm. Like we there's a lot of shows. Like I always tell people, like if you're coming here to Console War, you're in the wrong place. There's a lot of shows that will feed off misinformation, disinformation, who monetize off the anger of people, the console wars, and monetize off of misery. It's like, we're not, we don't do that here. We really, people don't understand, like behind the scenes, like I do a lot of reading of somebody made this comment on YouTube because or not YouTube, on Twitter, because I said that Tom Warren really isn't a journalist as much. He's not really a journalist as much as he's a pundit now these days, and you shouldn't take him seriously. Mm-hmm. And someone was like, "Oh, well, that's delicious, BRAP saying that when he thinks he's a economist, I forget what else he said, a lawyer and something else." And I'm like, "Yeah, actually, I'm all three, and an astrophysicist as well." But a lot of the times, a lot of the information that we discuss here is information based on either books that we've read or I've read, or like each one of the members of the show brings a unique perspective. Forte's got that retail perspective that I don't have. So I'll ask him about stuff. Slow-mo's in technology, so I'll bounce things off of him. B Money, for those who don't know, he was part of the original, the OG.
I remember.
The Inner Circle podcast. I mean, before there was like all these other shows. there was the Inner Circle podcast, and they had like everyone on. Keeley, Phil Spencer. They had Albert Pinella used to work for Xbox. I mean, they had so many different industry guest developers. And there was a time, but some people probably don't realize this, remember this, but there was a time on Twitter where game developers would actually engage with you on a regular basis, and then the fanboys drove them off the platform. Where they're like, we don't want to interact with people on Twitter because people didn't like the answers that developers were giving them because it didn't suit their narratives. It's like, imagine trying to argue. This is the part that kills me with Twitter and certain podcasters out there. Imagine trying to argue with people who actually make video games, who actually write lines of code. Like, imagine that. Like, that's just crazy to me. But that's the world we live in, where you have podcasters and people on Twitter arguing with subject matter experts. We don't do that here on this show, because why would I argue with someone? I've never written a lot of code in my life. Now, I have discussed developers and asked questions about how games are made. I've read books on how games are made to get a better understanding of the process. But I'm never going to present myself, as some kind of subject matter expert, because I've never written a line of code. God bless him, Optimus Code, the late great Optimus Code. I mean, it's one of the reasons why we loved having him on the show, because he was a software developer. He had actually worked in the video game industry, developing video games. He had a perspective that I just didn't have.
His insights were invaluable.
Yeah, his insight. And then what happened was when he would say things about development, people got upset at him. And I remember at one point he was like, you know what, people don't want information; they just want to be lied to. And that's what you see on gaming Twitter. And that's what you see with some of the YouTubers out there. They put out a lot of it because people want to be lied to. They want confirmation bias, and we just don't do that here. Like, that's not Component said he left the console war too. He did, because he at some point he was just done, and he's like, you know what, if you guys want a console war, I'll console war. But anyhow,
but like I said, at the end of the day, man, like I always said, this is something I always talk about with my best friend, and stuff, and we talk about in our circle. At the end of the day, all the lying and all that stuff ain't gonna matter, because the numbers don't lie. So regardless of what some of these people be saying on Twitter and how PlayStation ain't this and that and all that, this, that, and the third, we really know a large number of these people are out here playing these games, whether they shout it from the rooftop or not. They ain't got to say nothing, but they're out here buying it. They're out here playing it. They're out here enjoying themselves. Some people are just bold enough to be honest about it. We frequently tease, and I think you might have had Doc on your show at one point, Porter Rock's brother. I can't remember.
Yeah, Doc Dark, yeah.
But yeah, we frequently tease him because he was cameraing himself while he was playing one time. He was playing God of War. We like to give him trash, because he talks a lot of trash, but he couldn't stop smiling while he was playing God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Spider-Man and all these other games. So it's like, as much as he wants, and like I said, we want this too. Like, people get this mistaken, and I hate when they do that with y'all. We want Xbox to do good, because when Xbox does good, it make PlayStation. We've all been here long enough. When Xbox does good, PlayStation reacts and comes harder, because they don't got no choice. I love that. Competition is everything. And this is not the only industry that's a thing. I forgot, I was looking at something else recently. Oh, graphics cards. The prices went down on the 4070s because AMD released a competitive card that came out at $500, and the MSRP originally for the 4070 was $599. Now, I bought one recently for our living room build for 4070. I bought it for $514. And that's all because of competition. Without competition, these companies do not care, and they will charge you the maximum price they can get away with. That's why you need them to keep each other in check.
Yeah,
and like that's why we always want that, man. Nobody wants Xbox to do bad. I don't want the Blade game to be bad. I want the Blade game to blow me away. I get to play it. You know what I'm saying? I always want good games. I do not care who they come from. But until you give me that, and that is your pedigree, and that is what you built up with me, then, you know what I'm saying, then I'm going to expect what you've given me so far. Now, if you start knocking it out the park, and every game you release is a smash hit, you know what I'm saying, then I'm going to expect a certain thing, like Avowed, right? We seen some of the reactions. Some people weren't tried to backtrack, but you've seen kind of the reaction when they re-revealed Avowed, right?
Uh-huh.
When they changed the tone entirely and stuff like that, and it didn't look as realistic and stuff like that. Like I'm still interested in the game, but I was like, okay, so they clearly took a step back somewhere for one reason or another and reevaluated and kind of changed the tone, and it may work for the best. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, it really just depends. And yeah, what was it? Capono was saying in chat, the 4080s and 4090s went up in price. Yeah, they did because they really just can't be touched and they know it. And obviously, there's a bunch of other background stuff going on, politics wise, and 4090s with AI tech. And there's a mess going on there. Like, don't get me wrong, the graphics card market's got its whole issue going on right now. But yeah, again, though, like, regardless, like I said, you see it in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Competition drives each of these companies to try and garner your business. You know, regardless of whatever Amazon says, there's a reason they're not touching the main price of, of the subscription because, like you mentioned, all that other stuff. I've never used Amazon Music once in my life.
I don't either.
Like, that's why I commented earlier. I was like,
Yeah.
I wish, can I cut it out and you take that part of my subscription money and just leave my commercials alone? Because honestly, we all watch one or two shows on, for the most part, on Amazon Prime, and that's it. So it's like, let me customize my my subscription in that case.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
like you said
Yeah.
earlier, I've got it for shipping because I order from Amazon an
Yeah.
unhealthy amount.
Mm-hmm.
So um it's just convenient and stuff like that. But again, that's because they saw a loophole in the competition. And I told people, when Radio Shack and stuff went out, really
Mm-hmm.
all you had was Best Buy. Like, look at the price of like a standard HDMI cable half the time at Best Buy. Now, Amazon, which a lot of people don't even realize, Amazon is not always the person selling you the item. And this is actually a good thing with Amazon. A lot of the stuff you buy is sold by like some of these places who are like in the middle of nowhere, and they sell through Amazon, ship it out, and that fast shipping and all the stuff that you pay for, basically creates this network for businesses sometimes that, I don't know, they live in North Dakota and, they have an electronics business
Yeah.
and it's like they stay afloat entirely because they ship via Amazon and sell on Amazon. So like stuff like that is good. Like there's good and bad. Like you said, like they are this massive crazy conglomerate that you're like, hold on a second. But there also is some really good stuff that comes out of that as well. So it's a complicated world, man. But competition, regardless, always gives us
Mm-hmm.
our best bet. That's why these companies fight so hard to eliminate competition. Uh, like I mentioned, I think one time before when I was talking to you, that we were going to get Google Fiber in my
Yeah.
area,
I remember you
and
saying
Cox
that, and then
Communication filed
yeah.
an injunction.
Yep.
Yeah, to stop it because they know they were about to get murdered because Google doesn't charge more than $70 for gigabit internet,
Mm-hmm.
and Cox Communication currently charges like $180 for gigabit
Mm-hmm.
internet. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if your competition swoops in and they undercut you by that much, you either gotta compete, or you gotta get, or you're just gonna get blown away and everybody's gonna, go away from you. So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
said competition is everything. And you guys talk about that all the time. The loss leader thing that you mentioned, where a
It's
company can just bleed the industry
it's a
until it gets to a point where they can then, like, okay, that when, that, what did it say, the other shoe to drop, now here comes the other shoe. Now that we run this, pay up.
yeah.
I
It's
want my money back.
I mean, it's documented in other industries. That's why, like we people are like, oh, you guys are against consolidation. No, we're against mass consolidation, because mass consolidation, when you start, consuming, in this case, like a top five publisher, an ABK,
Hmm.
this thing has ripple effects on the industry. And then couple that with a company who is valued at $1 trillion, can engage in loss leader, and can do things that that their competitors can't do. Why would anyone change? Like, I guess this is where I'm confused. Like, as a gamer, you want more choices in gaming. Like, people are like, oh, all we get
Exactly.
is the same type of games. Well, yeah, because the industry's already been consolidated. And like at some point it we don't want to get to it because we see this in other industries like the ISP. You talked about the ISP providers, right? You look at where and I have to look this up, but I don't even think the U.S. is in the top 5 in terms of internet infrastructure globally, which to me is like, what? Like we're the most wealthiest country in the world, and we're not even in the top 5. Like how does that? But consolidation of ISP providers. There's no competition. There's no pushing of companies trying to or push each other to do better. And we really have consolidation.
Well, there's also no one holding them accountable, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people remember they got like a grant or whatever that went out to a bunch of them to increase infrastructure, and they basically just pocketed it because what that was for is all those rural areas who they're like they don't want to spend the money to run the cable because it's only going to give them a couple new customers. And it's not like, unless they build like a subdivision out there with 300 new homes, like, yeah, they'll rent it then. But like, I know people now that live in the country. I used to work for AT&T. Somebody said AT&T. I used to work for AT&T Uverse business. And I know a guy who was like, I could see because I was in the business class, I could see how far you were from the origin point of the signal. This guy was so far, they promised him like 30 Mbps at least, which we know isn't really much these days, but he just wanted to run a radio station or something and stream it, and he could only get like 3 Mbps. And it was just ultimately because he lives in the country too far away, and they basically don't want to put a repeater out there for the signal to boost him so that he could get proper high-speed internet. Mm-hmm. And and that's why our infrastructure is so bad, because we have so many areas around the country that are like that just have these big holes in each state that just have no proper internet. So you're getting all these people who barely, get the internet that we enjoy. Like somebody said, they got FiOS 1 gig up, 1 gig down. Like that should be everybody by now. That should be everywhere.
I mean, our U.S. broadband speeds are 8th in the world. To give you an idea of where we sit, and we're the wealthiest country in the world globally. We're the wealthiest country in the world, and we in this country haven't suffered or haven't felt a lot of the recessionary dynamics or inflationary dynamics that other parts of the world have. We've actually, and not to get political, I mean, we've actually done pretty well navigating the current Fed, helping us navigate and avoiding a full-on recession, and actually bringing down inflation down to almost 2%, which is the number that the Fed wants inflation to be at here in the U.S. So we were at like 9 point something percent at one point, and we're almost at that 2% with talks about maybe lowering interest rates towards Q3, Q4 of next year. So. But again, like this goes back to this idea of competition, and competition means more choices for consumers, which in the long run benefits consumers. And I've always said this: mass consolidation just doesn't benefit consumers in the long run. We've seen the airline industry, ISP providers, healthcare. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And it's interesting where and this is where I get frustrated with people's loyalty to corporations, which is really weird. Like, this is gonna foster innovation in cloud streaming. How? I mean, who's going to compete with Microsoft at scale? Google, they bowed out. Amazon, they're not even really, they kind of got their toes in the water with gaming.
Competing.
Yeah, but they're not competing at scale. And that's my point. There's very few companies that can compete at scale with Microsoft in gaming in terms of being able to leverage their adjacencies to reach consumers in the scale scope that Microsoft can. And now they're they own a big book of content, and they combine that with the ability to leverage Azure and a very cost. I mean, those are things that like Sony and Nintendo can't do. I've
observed personally Microsoft, because I work in IT, so I've personally had to observe Microsoft's other strategies. So like, while some people try to compartmentalize Xbox, I'm like, well, Microsoft is the parent company, and I know how their strategies work. And don't get me wrong, it's not unique to them. This is another thing. People think you're attacking Microsoft or Xbox, and it's like, no, this is how businesses work. They're going to get that money back one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's all big.
you just might not
They
see it
didn't
coming.
become $1 trillion companies by being nice.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And
Amazon,
it's
Apple.
I
Yeah.
visit it by, people talk about Azure, right? Azure cannot be allowed to take over on the back end for a lot of stuff to a degree over, Amazon servers and a bunch of other stuff, because if they do, that's when that other foot drops. They no longer need to be competitive. We have 80% of the market, and you're not going to leave us because we also offer you this, we offer this. So guess what? Now I want, $30 more a month, or, $140 a month. Like, I have to deal with it all the time because we have clients who, they purchase their license through us, and then, we send them the bill or whatever for um, their Microsoft Office per year. I know I just finished dealing with like a BMW dealership, and like their treasurer or whatever was reaching out, and they were like, why is this, $140 more per month than it was a bit ago? And it was like I said, it was like their Microsoft Office package. And it was like, because Microsoft says so, and you're not going to go anywhere. I didn't tell her that, but that's essentially what it is. There, so many businesses are locked into the structure of Microsoft Office, and depending on it, Azure on the back end, all this other stuff, the cloud support, all this stuff, and they get so locked in, and Microsoft strikes, right as, and they just, okay, boom, pay me. I'm gonna jump the price. They, like I said, they always know when to do it, and like I said, they're
Mhm.
always gonna get their money. They start you off very nice, and like, don't get me wrong, it's the same thing for for PlayStation. I tell people I don't like that new price hike. I think that price hike is a ridiculous jump in PlayStation
I don't.
Plus.
I don't like
Absolutely
it. I don't
ridiculous.
like it either. I said this earlier. Like, I don't care for price increases, but at the same token, I know I will participate in things I value. As much as I will go kicking and screaming,
Exactly.
to pay it. If I value it, I will, and these companies know it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, I do agree with you. Like, a lot of people think we're, because I see it and they're like, oh, you guys hate Xbox. You guys hate them. No, we don't hate Xbox. I mean, a lot of our criticism of Xbox and the conversation we have around Xbox, a lot of it's from just the performance in the market. I mean, that's not hate. That's just the reality. Like negative growth in hardware. I forget the Ampere, who's I don't know if they're like the Circana of the UK, but they're saying, PlayStation outsold Xbox by 300%. I mean, we see, negative growth. The Xbox trailing behind the Xbox Series consoles trailing behind the Xbox One. That's not hate. That's just the reality of how the Xbox console is performing in the market, and the demand signal. Like, to pay attention to what consumers are buying. They're not buying Xbox the way they were buying Xbox Ones. They're actually buying more PS5s, and it just is what it is. It's not hate. That's just pointing out the
Well,
reality. And what we
the
have is
problem is
conversation.
that the facts you guys presented don't fit their narrative, so they don't like it. And it's like,
Yeah.
this isn't like an alternative reality. You can't be like, I don't like those facts, so I'm just gonna believe, there's a rainbow in the sky. Like what? Like what? Like, just something
Mhm.
completely unrelated. Like, it's weird. It's like, you're not making an argument from nothing. This isn't your opinion. This is you just reporting the facts and people being upset at the facts. And it's like my girlfriend actually asked me, because like I told you, she listens to you guys all the time,
Huh.
and she's like, she asked me the other day, who are these people that come in here every week and bother them about them hating on Xbox? She goes, that's not even what they do. Like,
No,
what
we,
are
we
any of
we
these
we
people
don't.
really listening to them?
No, they're not. They're
Like,
not
and I'm like,
listening.
no, they're
They're
not.
not. They're coming in here like Logic says, foaming at the mouth. Wanting to prove why their console of choice is the best. And if it's the best, so be it. That's fine. As long as you like it, fine. But understand, we're having vastly different conversations than the Boomsticks, than the Colt Eastwoods, than those other guys. Like, they're engagement merchants. Like, we don't do that here. We're having vastly different conversations. So when we talk about the performance of the Xbox in the marketplace, it's followed up by how did they get here? What's driving consumers to turn elsewhere, to turn away from Xbox, and like, that's just that, and why are we having this conversation? Because we look at this, we look at the numbers, we look at we don't know what Game Pass numbers are. They don't report that. We know per Matt Piscatella, and this would apply to Sony as well, that subscription services, or subscription growth
Are being canceled at an all-time high.
Yeah,
right now.
But he's saying they stalled out. They've stalled on consoles, and that includes PlayStation and Xbox. So I mean, what does that tell you? If that's telling me that it's stalled, it tells me they're not. It's just they're not growing. And then the way you grow revenue in subscription models is by increasing the amount of subscribers you have. It's stalled. Then how does the math work out? I mean, people want to argue math. Okay, well, I have a bridge to sell you then, but we don't do that here. We're not gonna mislead people. We're not gonna sit there and say that we're not gonna ignore those reported metrics, and we're just not gonna do that. We're not gonna sidestep it either, or we're not gonna try to make excuses for it. There's a reason why they're performing in the market the way they are. It's not just by accident or because of some kind of tax. It's because consumers, they haven't released a product that really resonates with a broad consumer base the way PlayStation and Nintendo have. That's just the reality of the situation. It's not me saying it. It's the consumer saying it. It's the consumer based on where they're spending their money, their time, their dollars.
Well, and that's the other thing I tell people. Like a lot of times, with me playing on PC, a lot of them, you'll see a lot of people say, they don't care that Xbox went day and date on PC and stuff, and I'm like, but I know that's not true, because when I give the response, I'll play it on PC, I get that immediate sneer or snarky reply, or your imaginary PC, or this and that. Like it's always something smart, and it's like I know it bothers some of them a lot. And like I said, I'm realistic about the situation and what it does for me particularly. Like I tell people, I've built more PCs. This is just me on a personal level. I've built more PCs for people in the past 5 to 6 years than I ever have in my entire life. And I'm talking about people, not just people who are purely even gamers. Like some people are just like my aunts and stuff. They're just like, I want something more powerful, more capable. So if I want to do it, I can. So like they're seeing the difference. If you're going to spend $700 on an HP, they look at my PCs and stuff, and they're like, you build those pretty things. How much does it cost me for that versus this? And I'm like, well, for $200 to $300 more bucks, this PC will last you the next decade. The way you use computers, you know what I mean? So it's like it's not just them. Then, I built my nephew a new computer. I posted it on Twitter. We built him a new computer with Sonic in it and stuff. He's playing Fortnite on it, Roblox, whatever. He's getting into it. I literally coached someone last night through their first PC build. He was freaking out, don't get me wrong, and understandably, but I literally coached him how to build it over Discord.
Oh wow!
I gave him some tools. I told him what to get. Hey, you need a screwdriver. You need this, and he's almost done. We'll be done with the PC today. He'll be turning it on today. That's awesome. All I did was really help him pick out the parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't mind the alternative that Microsoft is having, but I'm realistic about the effect that it is having on their console sales, and that's a factor. And of course, they care. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah. So someone in the live chat says, Easy Shark says Xbox becoming more competitive and offering better value in than their competition is bad for me, the consumer. No one on the panel here said it's bad for you as a consumer, but also understand, Easy Shark, that's value subjective. I don't personally see value in Game Pass because my ROI was like 0 on Game Pass. Like I don't, if you see value in it, that's great. But I don't. But I will say this though, I don't want to conflate being competitive with mass consolidation by treating another company okay either, because that has ramifications that could have negative impacts to competition in the industry down the road and to consumers. We just talked about the examples of mass consolidation in other industries, like healthcare, like ISP, the mobile phone space. I mean, we really haven't seen the knock-on effects of cheaper stuff, if you will, through consolidation. They're just look at the history of mass consolidation in different industries. So I don't want to see gaming, or I don't want to see a rush to the bottom of the barrel with games either. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see the commoditization of gaming. And my concern is that that could happen as a result of mass consolidation. Again,
Well, exactly, and that's the scary thing where like you said, I said this one time when I talked to you before, the ISP thing comes up because that's a perfect example. It started as this race with a bunch of people, and now most of us, if you're lucky, you've got two options. And usually the two options are you want the bad internet in your area or you want the good internet, and they're going to charge you for it. And they know they're the good internet, so they're going to make sure they charge you that premium on top of it. Like you said, none of this stuff happens overnight. Like they didn't start that way. At one point we was paying $15 a month probably or $20 a month for internet. Now, most people are paying well above that, like because they know what the cost over time, what they can charge per area. That's why like some places they charge $70 or $100 for gigabit internet versus, where I live, no other competition offers gigabit internet besides one company. So they immediately went to $180 to $200. Like, but people think for some reason that if a company gobbles up, 80% of, the majority of the industry, that they wouldn't do the same thing. They absolutely would. These companies will screw you over the moment you let them. And I'm like, don't let either of them do that. Any of
yeah.
them.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, I don't disagree. Easy Shock says they don't make day one exclusives. Speaking of Xbox anymore, like Sony and Nintendo, but we expect them to compete at the same hardware split as their competition. No, I don't. Look,
we didn't say that though.
Yeah, we didn't
We just
say.
said we observe the effect that it has on their market sales. That's just the reality of it. They
Yeah,
chose to go a different route, and that's the reality of their split. I was like, I was in a space the other day, and I
yeah,
laughed because we always joke about this. It was a bunch of Xbox guys and like two PC guys, and they were all on board. Yeah, Xbox is the best. What I'm saying, I'm down with you guys, until they like went off and like praise something other than because the guys of course were in there were like PlayStation should just do what Xbox does and just go day one, and they should just yeah, the PC guys are of course cheering them on because they're like, yeah, give me everything on my PC and I'll never touch those consoles again. Like they're down with them until you suggest something otherwise, and I'm like, see, that then the split shows up. Because then somebody was like, but I wish Xbox would go exclusive again. I kind of wish they would give that window exclusive to, us Xbox fans and really let us. And man, the war was on then. It was like civil war in that space 5 minutes later. Why would you want to take them from us, bro? I was like, so people are on your side as long as it benefits them. You know what I mean? And then when you try to, you're not. They're like, whoa, 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 hold up. I don't like
yeah,
that
yeah.
idea.
Yeah, and no, and that's a thank you for that response to Easy Shock. I mean, you're spot on. I mean, we're not saying that's the expectation for them to compete at the same hardware split. What we are discussing is that we're observing based on the number of hardware units sold that the demand for that platform is in decline. That's all we're saying. There's probably reasons behind it. Maybe day and date could be one of it, but I argue it's also the content. They haven't really released a, look, you look at, and I've always said this, like there's the zeitgeist. They haven't had that first party exclusive that drives the zeitgeist in gaming. Halo was that. I mean, Halo's the reason why an Xbox exists today. You look at the power of what one game can do, and the impact that it can have. They just haven't had that, on a consistent basis. I mean, so, I think that's part of it, that they just haven't, managed their portfolio as good as some of the other platform owners have, like Nintendo and PlayStation. So hopefully that changes with the acquisitions they have. But I'm not holding my breath just based on their historical performance. So, but I do hope it gets better.
Exactly.
Because it benefits us if it does.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like I said, we get to play these games, both me and you. Like we don't want any of these games to be bad, right? But I'm not the person you got to convince. I already have the means to play. Well, but the thing that I tell people, the people you need to convince is these people out here who don't game on PC, who don't have an Xbox, who haven't invested in your ecosystem in the slightest. Those are the people you need to convince because those are the people in the wings still waiting. Like I said, my best friend is, she's a PlayStation gamer. She's probably well, at least for the foreseeable future, not going to game on PC. So she's waiting for Xbox to really give her that reason, that solid reason. And no, we're not talking about the promise of exclusives or games coming that might be good. We're talking about stuff I can play right now. That's what she wants. So she was like, she's like, yeah, when Hellblade comes out, I'm probably gonna go in, especially if Fable is lined up not too long after that. This and that. There's things she's looking forward to, but we've been looking forward to some of these games people forget for a very long time. Like Perfect Dark was announced so far back, I forgot when the original announcement was. Like, I'm not even particularly looking forward to that game because I wasn't into the original Perfect Dark, but I get why people are excited for it. But again, like I haven't seen a JPEG of that game since it was announced. Like I was like, so why would I invest in your product for the hopes and dreams of, when you're not offering the games I want to play yet? And I get where she's coming from on that. She is ready to invest in an Xbox. Don't get me wrong, that 349 almost got her. That price, nothing like a price drop to convince you otherwise. You know, that's another way of doing it, Like, hey, I want you to invest right now, price drop. Um, so yeah, man, I mean, there's many ways to get around it. Microsoft knows what's up. That's why they dropped that price during the holiday season. Maybe it might not even go back up. That would be smart of them. That's a way to drive people to your platform initially, and that would also be very smart. So yeah, ain't no telling what they're gonna do in the future. I saw Jago ask me something in the chat. Question on the PC build that you've helped people with and done yourself. What's the main OS that you've used on those computers? Yeah, I mean, obviously they're using Windows. I mean, they're building gaming PCs. Um, I mean, I wouldn't put them on anything else, especially you're talking about like new people to PC gaming. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna go on Windows. I'm not gonna teach somebody like Linux or something. Like, oh god, yeah, that'd be a battle and a half.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It would be a battle and a half. Yeah. All right, Nate, I do need to wrap up the show, but I want to say thank you again for joining us today. I really appreciate it, man. And
Absolutely,
appreciate
man.
the support as always. It's nice to hear people value the different perspective that we bring to the gaming dialogue. But yeah, I may do another BRAP rant later this week. I know it's Wednesday, I say later this week, but maybe Thursday or Friday. So yeah, give me a follow on X or Twitter, BRAP_podcast. Nate, I don't know if you want to be found, but if you do, let everyone know they can find you as well.
Yeah, man, just on Twitter at the real innate. Again, man, just keeping it gaming and trying to be excited for this 2024 lineup, man, and trying to save my wallet at this point.
I hear you. Yeah. And also, big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Sorry for the difficulties we had earlier where the previous stream just crapped out for some reason. I think Jeff Bezos didn't care for me discussing the $3 price for ad-free streaming. But no, thank you, everyone, for coming back and hanging out with us today. Do me a favor, hit that like button, helps the channel out. And if you're new, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're alerted when we go live. Again, I may do another BRAP rant Thursday or Friday. Yeah, no, everyone enjoy the rest of the week. And Nate, thank you again. I appreciate it. And we'll catch you next time.
Peace.